What's up guys, it's your boy Omizaru, and I know it's been a long time since my last video as I've been dealing with work and personal stuff, but from now on I'll be as consistent as possible. But before we get into the video, I really want to thank Sensei Inc and his Twitch chat for giving me advice, watching my video, but also telling me what to improve on my next YouTube videos. Without further ado, today we'll be talking about the man that a lot of people do not give the respect that he deserves, and Kubo himself did him dirty with the way he handled him at the end of the story. And that person is none other than the Captain Commander of the Gotei 13, Genryūsai Shigekuni Yamamoto. So let's get into the video. One of the oldest and most powerful Shinigami, Yamamoto was the first Captain Commander of the Gotei 13 and is a man with a very strong sense of justice and pride. He sternly believes that the justice of the world should be held above one's own personal sense of justice. He will sacrifice his own men if it meant enacting justice on rule breakers. Do not confuse this with needless murdering, which is a thing that Yamamoto of the past would have done, as Yamamoto only sacrifices men and soldiers that have given their lives for their Serite. We will first look at Yamamoto's strengths and also the strengths of his Sanpakuto. We are first introduced to Yamamoto in the Soul Society arc when he calls a meeting for the captains. In this meeting, the matter on hand is Jin failing to kill Ichigo, who had invaded the outskirts of Soul Society. As soon as the meeting starts, Kenpachi and Jin begin to argue about Jin's inability to deal with the threat that he should have taken care of easily. Jin of course mocks Kenpachi. The argument seems to frustrate Yamamoto, who demands an explanation from the captain. We are then first shown him in action during the execution of Rukia. Yamamoto witnesses his two most prized students, Shunsui and Ukitake, assisting in the stopping of Rukia's execution. This angers and upsets Yamamoto, as he believes it's not up to them to decide what happens and believes both of them should be punished for this crime, which shows his belief that one's own personal sense of justice should not be held above the justice of the world. Shunsui and Ukitake move to another location, but Yamamoto soon catch up to them, which shows how fast Yamamoto is, as Shunsui himself is fast, as he uses Shunpu to carry Nanao out of Yamamoto's full Ryatsu range and come back instantly, indicating a roughly 26-mile round trip, as Yamamoto's Ryatsu is lethal from 13 miles away. Also, Yamamoto has immense Ryatsu that is capable of incapacitating lieutenants by simply exerting himself, as shown by what happens to Nanao. And his Ryatsu is so strong that it can be felt from another city. This fight shows that even with two captains, they are not even able to hold him, let alone actually beat him. With a single sword slash, Yamamoto is able to knock back both Shunsui and Ukitake. He also emerges uninjured from the fight, while Shunsui and Ukitake are both injured. We are also introduced to the name of his Sanpakuto, Ryujin Jaka, which means a blade of flames. His Shikai allows him to create and manipulate fire. In the Arankai arc, we are shown how strong Yamamoto is and how seriously he takes his duties. During the arc, Yamamoto made his first appearance by having a conversation over video to Toshiro Hitsugaya over Aizen's army invading Karakura town, and allows Momo to speak with him. Once the conversation begins to revolve around Aizen, Momo begs Toshiro to rescue Aizen, believing that Jin is manipulating him. Yamamoto cuts their conversation short by knocking Momo unconscious with a Kido. Later, when Orihime is captured, he orders Toshiro's team to retreat back to Soul Society in preparation for the war against Aizen, and firmly disapproves of the idea of Ichigo and the others going to rescue her, seeing it as a suicide mission, and believes that Orihime willingly betrayed him. It is also explained Yamamoto ordered the creation of a replacement Karakura town so the captains can fight at full strength without damaging the city and also killing innocent lives. When he arrives in the fake Karakura town, he uses Jukaku Enju to remove Aizen, Tozen and Jin from the initial fight and to concentrate on the Espada. Then we see him fight Ion, who has injured several lieutenants, where he dodges his blitz and uses Will-O-Wisp to create a large hole in Ion, and with his Shikai, he uses Nadegiri to cut Ion in half and kills him using Taimatsu. We are also shown how great his loyalty is, as he is willing to sacrifice himself and the Gotei 13 in order to defeat Aizen, believing it to be their duty to lay down their lives for the sake of society if necessary, which in turn causes him to lose his arm. He also prefers not to involve allies who are not part of the Gotei 13, especially humans, as he requested Ichigo to move to safety and did not request for Orihime to repair the left arm he sacrificed. When the Arankai arc finished, a lot of people were still waiting to see what his Bankai looked like and how strong it was, as Yamamoto has always been shown to be the strongest Shinigami, and that people are afraid to fight him on a one-on-one situation, as they know they will lose. like Aizen admitted in the Arrankai arc, and he also had to create someone to seal Yamamoto's Zanbakuto. We are finally shown his Bankai in the 1000-year War Blood arc, when he's fighting who he thinks is Yahweh, but it's actually Roid. His Bankai is called Sanka no Tachi, and to me this is the strongest Bankai in the whole of Bleach. Because of the extremely intense heat which emanates from both Yamamoto's blade and body, he can only wield Sanka no Tachi for a short amount of time, and prolonged use of it will eventually destroy his opponent, Soul Society, and even himself, which can be shown by what happens around the Soul Society, like Hitsukaya can't use his Zanbakuto because the heat turned everything to water. Zanka no Tachi has 4 techniques. The first is Zanka no Tachi Higashi, which means Zanka no Tachi East. This is automatically activated at release. This ability concentrates the intense flames of the sword along the tip of the blade. It neither burns nor erupts, but anything it touches is eradicated to nothingness. Even the defensive powers of Wonder Rick's Blue Vein cannot stand up against this technique. The second is Zango no Tachi Nishi, which means Zango no Tachi West. This also automatically activated at release. This ability is unseen by the eyes of anyone else unless Yamamoto wills it to be seen, and engulfs his body in a heat which reaches a temperature upwards of 15 million degrees. Therefore, it becomes impossible to even touch him while he's using his Bankai. The level of heat produced by this technique is so high it would actually appear in the form of flames. Already these 2 techniques make Yamamoto superly overpowered, but the next technique is Zanko no Tachi Minami, which means Zanko no Tachi South, which is the most broken technique. By impaling the tip of his sword into the ground, Yamamoto calls upon the corpse and ashes of the dead who were killed by his flames to come forth and fight on his behalf. They emerge from a rupture in the ground which comes with enough force to decimate Zankusuinga. Using the heat of his sword on the ashes, he can revive all the people he has killed, allowing the corpses to become his limbs and attack whoever he deems as his enemy until they become dust. He can bring forth any specific corpse which he wishes, allowing him to inflict psychological damage upon those with connection to those he has slain. Also, the dead from Zanko no Tachi South are not fodder, which some people have said, as in a group they are fast and strong enough to hold back Roid from attacking Yamamoto. By this time, everybody in the community, including myself, was going crazy because of how strong Yamamoto is. So I thought the last technique would be even more crazy, but out of all of the techniques, this was the most disappointing, and that is Zanko no Tachi Kita, or Zanko no Tachi North, which is a slash of concentrated fire and heat which incinerates whatever it touched out of existence. After killing who he thought was Yahweh but was actually Roid, the real Yahweh appears and kills Yamamoto and steals his Bankai, which again shows how strong Yamamoto was, as Yahweh himself couldn't fight Yamamoto because of his Bankai, so he had to use an underhand trick to beat him. To summarize, Yamamoto as a character is a very headstrong person who thinks that his sense of justice is one that everyone should follow. He does not like people who are disloyal and rule breakers, as this is seen as the ultimate disrespect to not only himself but to the Gotei 13 and the Soul Society as a whole. This is shown when Yamamoto fights his former students who he thought of as his own children. As the head captain for over 1,000 years, Yamamoto is respected by everyone in the series, including the antagonists, and it's because of this respect and his power that he is arrogant. Now we all know Yamamoto is arrogant for good reason, as few people will fight him and hope to come out of it alive. However, this arrogance is what got him killed against Yahweh. Yamamoto was an absolute monster, but he was also extremely stubborn and did not want to hear anything that was in disagreement with him or his ideals. If we look at the larger picture, then it is clear that Yamamoto's reluctance to tell people about the Quincy's set off the worst chain of events that killed Chojiro, Unohana, Squad Zero, Nemo and Yamamoto himself. This arrogance clouded his judgment and he went straight to the front lines. Just like in chess, it is never a smart move to move your king out to the front lines no matter what. This could have been caused by him fighting Aizen, which forced Yamamoto to rethink his actions. Usually Yamamoto would wait until he knew that the rest of the captains of the Gotei 13 cannot obtain victory, and then Yamamoto himself would enter the fight. However, when he waited to fight Aizen, he gave Aizen enough time for the Ryogoku to emerge with him. Because Yamamoto failed to kill Aizen and had to rely on the help of Ichigo, a human, Yamamoto went straight to the front lines during the first invasion so that Yamamoto could get rid of the threat as soon as possible, and the only way to do so was trying to kill Yahweh himself. Yamamoto's arrogance is highlighted further when he says, "I am here, there is no security better than this." Now, I have to admit that it's such a badass line, and no one better to argue this. It is with this line that we see that Yamamoto did not feel remotely threatened by the Quincy or Yahweh, and we can clearly see why. He grabs Driscoll's arrow and throws it aside, tanks Chojiro's Bankai after being hit multiple times by it, swings his sword once towards him, turns him into bones, and then his bones into ash. And I don't think I have to go over again his Bankai and how broken it is. While it is highly debatable whether Yamamoto is the strongest character in the series, it is safe to say that from what we've seen, no one was able to fight Yamamoto in a fair battle. Aizen, in order to ensure his victory, created an entire Arankai specifically designed to negate the flames of Ryujin Jaka. Likewise, Yahweh had to send Roy to fight Yamamoto and then showed up to steal his Bankai and kill him. Now tell me what you think. Comment if Kubo did Yamamoto dirty by not allowing him to fight anyone one-on-one, and what you think of Yamamoto as a character. Also, like and subscribe and comment down below and be the first one to see when a new video comes out. See you guys on the next one.